Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch.
Okay, so after weeks of uncertainty, the Senate will today, Monday, commence a public hearing on the tax reform bills. On Tuesday, the House of Representatives will open its doors for stakeholders' input on the controversial bills, which sparked intense debate during plenary 2 weeks ago before the eventual passage for second reading. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, disclosed the Red Chamber's readiness to commence the exercise, saying that they'll commence on the 24th and the 25th for public hearing, that they intend to take on 2 of the bills each day. He also said that they were going to invite general public, particularly some organizations, to the public hearing, and that also a committee has been formed to, to oversee this public hearing on the bill. One of the organizations that will be invited is the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Fund Bill. The Nigerian Revenue, one of them is the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Fund Bill, the Nigerian Revenue Service Bill, the Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, and the Nigerian Tax Bills will be put out there for public hearing. The senator, a member of the APC representing Niger East District, has emphasized the importance of the bill, and he's insisting that the main purpose of this is to see how the government will generate more revenues so that we'll be able to put our country on the pedestal of advanced economies. Right. So many other agencies have been invited to this public hearing. So this is a time that if you have anything to say on the bills, please come out and be heard.
Exactly. So the Lagos State Police Command has arrested a 38-year-old man, Samuel Alfred, who allegedly defiling his 14-year-old stepdaughter in Okokomaiko area of Lagos State. The suspect was said to have been arrested alongside his friend Ikechukwu Ikechukwu, whom he allegedly conspired with to have carnal knowledge of the teenager. The police source who spoke to Punch Metro on Sunday said the duo were apprehended on Friday after the victim's mother, Deborah, discovered she was 9 months pregnant. The mother came to the lodge to complain that her daughter has been impregnated by her husband, who is a stepfather to the victim, and went straight to arrest the man. And was during the interrogation they found out that there was another man involved in the whole thing. That led to the arrest of both friends, and really, really sad. That story.
So I have the Grand Qadi of the Sharia Court of Appeal in Kwara State, Justice Abdurrahim Sahi. He was speaking at the Sharia, at a lecture on Sharia in Southwest Nigeria, the University of Lagos Muslim Alumni 30th pre-Ramadan lecture, The Transformative Power of Ramadan. And this was held at the JF Ade Ajayi Auditorium in Unilag, attended by the Deputy Governor of Lagos State as well as the Deputy Governor of Ogun State and other dignitaries. And he was saying, emphasizing that there was nothing illegal about Sharia panels in the Southwest States. He said this is a purely constitutional matter. Arbitrations are not, guided by constitution. They're usually contractual matters between 2 individuals and whatever they submit to. And he says that it's legally baseless for an embarrassment to legal minds and a mere expression of Islamophobia and syndrome in, what the objections that he has gotten and we've been hearing so far around Southwest States. He said nobody needs the approval of the federal government to operate it. As powerful as the president is, his authority does not extend to approving the constitution of an arbitration panel. It is purely contractual. And he asserted that Muslims do not need permission from religious bodies or traditional rulers to operate Sharia panels, as the law grants private citizens the right to do so. And so he just, I totally agree with him on this. This is marriage, and all of those issues are matters that are personal, and somebody can submit to any law that they want. And it is also a fault on our lawmakers to see that people are calling for this provision and not take the opportunity to create one and leave them to help themselves, and then start to raise objections across the country.
Okay, Vanguard. APC Makinde war over Osun local government polls. Why Nigerians are angry, says Ango Abdullahi. NLC to IMF World Bank. Stop lending to unaccountable leaders. We have 600 billion naira worth of petrol in storage, says Dangote. No to scrapping of NDDC, Ishekiri leaders tell Tinubu. Why I introduced SAP, that's SAP. Other policies, says IBB. Ganduje Minister Baker over Kano APC chairmanship. And 1996 coup, IBB has vindicated Igbo, says Ohaneze Chekwasokore. Okay, which story?
I could do the NLC. So NLC Congress as the Nigerian Labour Congress weekend, had a weekend in Washington, D.C., United States, and they told the International Monetary Fund, that's the IMF, and World Bank, to stop lending money to governments not accountable to their citizens. So according to the NLC, such loans only deepen the crisis of governance and push nations further into the abyss of debt and underdevelopment. The president of NLC, Joe Ajero, was the one who stated this, and he told the financial institution how their economic prescriptions over the years had continued to worsen poverty and undermine Nigeria's development. He spoke at the 2025 high-level meeting of the Global Labour Movement, and he also pleaded with Bretton Woods institution to stop imposing blanket austerity measures, but support developing nations in crafting progressive tax policies that protect the poor and vulnerable. He says that we represent the voice of those who are marginalized and those who are supposed to benefit from taxation, but who have unfortunately in many countries begun to suffer adversely from taxation. He says progressive taxation and fiscal consolidation are not merely economic issue, it's a moral imperative and a key question of social justice. So he gave an example of how the poor are made to pay more tax than the rich, taking it from where you had spoken. The people who have the global organizations, the companies, are paying almost nothing compared to the poor people who are supposed to be almost like tax-free at once being taxed. So the poor are getting poorer, the rich are getting richer, which is not helping the economy. So that the IMF, instead of just doling out loans, should come together, help them create a policy. And I'm wondering, is this the work of the IMF? I think we should start taking responsibility for what we are doing as leaders. You can't leave other people to help us manage our own country. It doesn't tell well.
But anyway, with the tax reform bill now, so let's see where that takes us. So the Shekiri Leaders of Thought, ILOT, the apex socio-political organization of the Shekiri Nation, have called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to scrap the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, but to allow it to function independently alongside the proposed South-South Development Commission. The leaders argued that the NDDC was established with a clear mandate to facilitate infrastructural and socio-economic development in the Niger Delta. While it has faced challenges over the years, its existence remains crucial to addressing environmental, economic, and social issues peculiar to those regions. He also stated that the South-South Development Commission, like other regional commissions, is a welcome development, but it cannot undertake the role of NDDC, which was purposefully designed as an interventionist agency, because they receive funding from not just the federal government, from the IOCs, which enables them to clean up the environment, do a whole lot of things within the environment as compensation for what's going on within those environments.
Okay, so the Igbo nation has been vindicated according to the Ohanese Ndigbo, reacting to General Ibrahim Babangida's comments on the Igbos, said that they were not the one responsible for the 1966 coup. The former military president, in his book, A Journey in Service, launched in Abuja on Thursday, clarified that the coup was also, which was also known as Nzegu coup, was not driven by the ethnic motivations as popularly believed, adding that the intention of the coupists was to make late Premier of Western Region, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, present, and the senior Igbo officers were also murdered. Reacting to IBB's clarifications, the newly elected National Publicity Secretary, Dr. Nzechi Chukwu, said General Babangida's declaration is a testament to the cries of the Ndigbo over the years that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup, it was a coup of young military officers who were probably proposed to the establishment of the period, and IBB's comment has vindicated the Igbo nation.
Okay, so the Zambian Minister for Energy Minister paid a visit to Nigeria, and a visit to the Dangote refinery, and he was informed that Dangote has more than 500 million liters of petroleum products like gasoline, diesel, kerosene to meet over 100% of Nigeria's requirements. And he, after taking the tour, was amazed. His name is Mr. Makozo Chikote, and he says that
the story.
You took it already. And I asked him.
No, okay. Arrest. Daily Sun. Let's find one story. Nima, do you have Trump USA? So let me just take the story first. My face-to-face with death, says IBB. Nasima warns of foreign investors' flight over taxes. And Trump's US state funding cut threatens Nigeria's rural electrification project. Serap wants court to stop CBN from implementing the ATM fee hike. And NCDC reports 80 deaths from Lassa fever in 11 states. Okay.
Okay. So the President of the United States, as we have all heard, slash the funding of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, to allow for a 90-day review. And this has, of course, put our rural electrification project drive in jeopardy. According to experts in this report, they said it has widened the gap in the energy sector of ongoing projects that are presently going to be starved of funds. With an estimated 85 million Nigerians still without access to electricity, experts fear this setback could stall critical projects. Now why you supposed to fund your own thing, but you know,
okay, that's all we can take on the front page review this morning. When we come back more to our hot topic of today, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.